All right. Hello, everyone. The aim of this webinar session is to introduce the LinkedIn Recruiter Seat and provide guidelines to UNDP recruiters on how to use it. Together with us, we have Operations Associate of OHR, Ivana, who is a specialist on the tool and will give us a brief introduction on navigating the tool.
Thank you, Maria. Very pleased to be able to show you this very successful tool for recruiting the talent that we need in UNDP. We have the hard task of getting all the best talent from the pool, which is in LinkedIn. And we fight with other UN agencies over all the best people. So this has helped us a lot to do that. This tool is quite complex and has a lot of features, and we're not going to go through all of them because there is a wealth of information already provided by LinkedIn, and we will share a link to those tools and those learning resources at the end of this presentation. But this is to show you as a UNDP recruiter how to best use this to find the talent we need for the organization. So to start with, I hope that you all have access to the recruiter seat, as we call it, in LinkedIn. It is a feature which is outside of the normal LinkedIn site, and it offers different possibilities of looking for the talent we need. We have ways of making a project out of it, and we also have a way of creating a very detailed filter and search with that.
Yes. So we will begin by introducing the tool, and then we will proceed into a case study on the two different cases that we will talk about regarding the tool, and then about the impact of the tool. To begin with, I would like to ask, why is this tool useful, and how has it helped so far?
Yeah. So yes, the use of this tool is to actually headhunt directly the best candidates that are out there in LinkedIn for people who have actually uploaded a good LinkedIn profile. And so there's, as I said, two different ways of doing that there, and we're going to be showcasing these two on two live recruiting projects at the moment. So one of them is for an entry-level position as a JPO, Junior Professional Officer, and the other one, which I will start with, is for a very high position, and it is a recruitment ongoing at the moment, and that is for a D1, Deputy Director of the Audit Office. So one versus the other offers different possibilities. The project, the setting up of a project for a recruitment gives the best out of the AI functionality of the recruiter seat. So artificial intelligence will be using this project to offer candidates to us, to offer talent. For many commercial organizations, because this is a tool that is created for commercial recruitment, for many commercial organizations, they use actually LinkedIn to recruit people all the way from advertising to job offers. In UNDP, we use our own tool, Quantum, to do that. But for the first phase of advertising and finding and headhunting candidates, we do use LinkedIn Recruiter tool. So for this purpose, I have created a project for the recruitment that I mentioned. And I have just created it, so it is completely fresh and new. And normally what I do with this is I also create different kind of filters and different kind of searches to give the system the best possible idea of who I'm looking for. And the system will actually, based on my searches, and I will pull it out here. I have created a search with different criteria for this position. And I will show you in a minute what those criteria are. So this is now AI working for me in LinkedIn. So what it does, it spotlights different categories of candidates that are available. It will tell me who has actually marked their profile as open to work. Active talents are those who correspond the best to the description that we have given. We obviously don't have anybody to rediscover, so we don't have any candidates in the pipeline that we need to contact again. But then we have two here who have showed actually interest in UNDP and have marked, they have actually tagged us in their profile. But to go through the search and the filter that we have set up, I had to go through the terms of reference of this position carefully to understand who we are looking for, what are the main attributes of this person, all the education requirements, the language requirements, the number of years of experience, and such. We also want to look, because this is such a high position, we want to look for people who already work in this field, because we require many years of experience. So we have already indicated that we want people who have done audits in different ways, or who work in ethics offices or audit offices as such. What we also want to tell the system is the skills that we want this person to have, and it's obviously all kinds of audit skills. We can refresh these skills and remove and add skills as we go. So this is very easy to use. We can also save this search and refine it anytime we like. There's a lot of fields in here that we normally don't use, but they are optional. We do not say that we want to recruit from a specific company that is already out there. We do not usually have a school in mind, but we will come back to that later. The year of graduation is at this point not important either, because this is a person who has already graduated a long time ago. The industry, we could actually indicate here that it's a non-profit if we want somebody from that field, but that really limited our pool, as you can see. So what I would do is I would not insist on this and remove it right away. But you can always use some of these or none at all, because we have more indicators to add. The keywords could be, again, audit, but I think we have already mentioned it many times. We can also decide to hide the previously viewed candidates. If we had done such a recruitment recently, then we could use that so that we don't have to look at candidates we have already viewed. Or down the line, if we change the requirements, we can maybe hide those that we have contacted before. For the purpose of this position, we have a requirement of a master's degree plus a number of years, or a bachelor degree plus another number of years. However, we can do only one at a time. We cannot say both of them. If we put both bachelors and masters, we do not know how many years of experience they bring with them. So I would say one by one. The fields of study, normally it says law. So I will just put law as an indicator. And the spoken language is English plus any other UN language, but let's just keep it at English for the moment. And the seniority is also important. We do want, it can be a director, and we can just also say, for example, a senior person. We can say also partner, because we're talking about law. Sorry, I have selected something different here. I can say partner because we are talking about high levels of legal practice as well. So with this, I will update my search because I've added some things, and it opened these candidates here. So this is what LinkedIn offers me as candidates. We may look at them, and the benefit of this is that each time we look at a candidate, we can decide on doing several things. We can look at their profile, and let me just give a disclaimer. All this information that you can see on the screen is also what is publicly on LinkedIn. So we're not revealing any confidential information. But if we decide that we like Angela and we think she would be a great fit for this position, we can save her to the pipeline. What this would be doing is we'd be telling the AI that we want to see more candidates like Angela. We can also hide her so that we don't have to look at her profile again if we refine the search. We can also write to her. So this is the other incredible benefit of LinkedIn. This is the only tool we have in UNDP that allows us to have a direct communication with a possible candidate. In this way, we communicate to this person what we would like to offer, what we need from them, and we bring them to us. We attract them to UNDP as an employer, and we offer them the possibility to actually answer some of their questions that they normally don't have when they apply through our usual corporate UNDP tools. So, Maria, do you have any questions so far?
Yes, thank you so much for this description. It's a very useful tool indeed. So just to reiterate and clarify, what is the benefit of filtering a project, and when would you use a project instead of a direct filter? So how do you distinguish one from the other?
So that would be basically to using a project allows the artificial intelligence used by LinkedIn to offer us candidates and help us in that filtering. Because often when we don't have very specific requirements, we do end up with thousands of possible candidates. And we would like to avoid that because this is time consuming and not really helpful. But by asking LinkedIn's AI to help us, it only produced 230 candidates, or no, actually, no, it's 92 in this case, who are open to work, 40 who are active. So it does not bring up the people who are happily sitting in their audit jobs right now and probably would not even reply to us or read our messages. So AI helps us find candidates instead of us relying only on our recruiter skills. And having said that, our recruiter skills are so important because when we find somebody that we want to attract, we want not just to raise the awareness of the position that exists in our system. Because as we know, our TORs can be confusing and a bit dry, and many times people do not have the time to read all of it. So before even starting to contact candidates, what is good to do is to carefully read the terms of reference, the requirements of the position, and create this attractive paragraph or letter that you will be sending to these candidates. And I do that just in Word, and I use that Word format only for the very first letter that I write. And let's just say that we want to attract Angela to this position. I will find this window, which offers some tips. For example, mention the candidate's employer or role, or include the name of the candidate or so. So what it does is gives you tips on how to make this message, how to make it matter to this person. And everybody knows how we all like to feel special. So it is the best is to start with "Dear Angela" and make it as personal of a message as possible. We want to introduce her to what we do. We want to tell her what we are offering, and we want to ask her to either apply, or if Angela is very happy in her job, ask if maybe she can help share this with the network. So for example, that message I've already drafted. What I've done is I have reduced our entire TOR into a few sections here of relevant information that is at first sight relevant and maybe will attract Angela to do this. So I would basically copy all of this. I would tell her what I said. It's the introduction of why the audit and ethics is important to UNDP, who we are looking for, at what level this position is, what kind of income that person can expect, and of course the link to the position itself in Quantum where we have advertised, also asking the person to share the position with her network, and of course the closing date. So also at the end, I would normally also invite them to contact me if they have any questions. And so let's just say I will copy this into here. And since I haven't read Angela's profile and I'm not going to write this to her right away, I would just like to show you that once you are happy with this message, you can create a template out of it. Down here, it says save as template. And then you can reuse it time after time by just entering the name of the template at the top of each message. And you send, of course. So basically, this is what I would do to attract people and headhunt them. This message can be edited even as a temp if you use it as a template along the way to modify it. And for example, if you stumble upon an old colleague who has already worked with you, you're not going to be as formal as this. You are going to revise this message a bit, this template a bit, and be a bit more informal as well. But I'm not going to send this to Angela because I'm not sure if this is exactly the talent we want. I'm just going to close this. But what happens is if I had sent this to Angela, I can also see later on if she has accepted this message or if she has replied to it, which is even more important. This can be seen in the little inbox here. And you will see now many different people who have written to me for another position. But this is also showing that you can have a good chat with people and show appreciation for them replying to you. As you can see, this person has really is really interested, but at the moment would like to work either remotely or hybridly and ask if it is possible. So this is a really great way of communicating. And for example, if I decided that this person will actually apply and we are very interested in this, for example, Angela's, sorry, back to this if I can. Just a second. It just doesn't want me to go back to that. Okay, I will go back this way. So if I have written to Angela and Angela replied to me and said, I'm very interested. This is my dream job. I will do everything I can to reply to the questions, and I will definitely save her to the pipeline. What it does, it gives a signal to the AI of the LinkedIn recruiter that this is the kind of candidates I like. And then the recruiter system will actually send me more of the same kind. So that is where the project is so good over a direct filter.
All right, thank you, Ivana. Now moving forward to the JPO case that you're
Yes.
gonna illustrate. What is the importance of finding a nationality? And yeah, please indicate the position.
Yes. So for this case, as I said, I used the project for the D1, but you will see for the recruitment for the JPO funded by the Republic of Korea, we have very, very specific requirements for those. They're much more strict than the ones for the D1 position, which sounds very unusual because it is an entry-level position. But there I have actually used advanced filters. And the way I did that, so this is where I would create this advanced filter. But because I have already made one, I don't want to waste your time. I will just go straight to it because here you can see the latest searches you have done. See, and one moment, and this is the one for the Korean recruitment, and it will bring up all the criteria that I had already entered and also some of the candidates. So you will see what I have searched and why this is important. So here I have gone through the different fields of the search engine, the same as in the project. However, I had additional requirements in here, and I will talk to you about a few things that are really important to us because unlike corporate America or other commercial organizations, we actually have demands, we have requirements for candidates to be of a certain nationality or age group or similar. And since none of these fields are required in LinkedIn, we cannot pull that information easily. The way to go about it is easy, for example, in the case of Korea, because if we only want Korean candidates, what we're going to say is that we want that person to speak fluent, as in native or bilingual Korean. And that will really narrow down the pool of candidates that we want. If, for example, we are hiring, we only want to hire Canadians, that is a big issue. And then we cannot really say French and English because we would be pulling in the global population that speaks French and English, which is millions of people probably. So what we would do is we would just risk it and say we want that person to be located in Canada and hope that it's only Canadians. But it will also pull out a lot of people who are just living in Canada. But that is our only way to actually go around this requirement. So if we talk about nationalities, that this the only way to narrow down things is through the language and the location of the candidate. There is no other.
Yes, and moving forward, how do you indicate the age of the candidate in terms of seniority? And since the LinkedIn recruiter seat does not seem to have a field for that, how do you circumvent this issue?
Age is not a field in LinkedIn at all, even though we can indicate our birthday, but it will not show in the filters. So what we would do is we have to be creative and indicate, for example, the years of graduation. So if we want somebody in their 20s, 30s, like for example, for the JPO program, it has to be candidates up to 32 years of age. We are going to show the years of graduation very strictly. So here, and especially if it's somebody with very little experience, we would say, 2015 to 23, maybe they have graduated just this year. But this is the only place where we can actually say that. Or the only other place is also the year, what do you say, the years of employment. So we can also, years of experience, we can also limit those. But just remember that often when we talk about years of experience, our requirement may be 2 years of experience, but it's paid experience. So we have to be liberal here by including more than those 2 years, as many can be actually internships and volunteering, which unfortunately we still have issues accounting in towards the required years of experience. The other fields are pretty much the same as in the project that I showed earlier. The fields of study here are a bit higher, more varied. We can do that. And the degrees at this point, for this position, it's a bachelor degree, so that's easy. But it will also pull out everybody who has a bachelor's or above. So we have to see, how senior we want to find them. There's something called advanced search, which opens even more criteria. Some of them we really don't use. It's like, people's specific zip codes and things like that. Profile language can be a very good tool as well. Because if we say that the profile language is in French, that that the person speaks native French. And we have used that for example, for the graduate program, etc. What we have also used is, yes, where the people are working at the moment. So sometimes if we indicate that people are in UNDP, then we know that's like basically internal candidates. But that is a bit of a tricky thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ivana. Finally, how do you go about finding specific profiles where formal education is not always required, or where there is a niche education requirement or skill? How do you combat this?
Thanks for that. That is always tricky. And if we cannot put that into the skills and assessments or keywords, what we do is actually look at the associations or groups here that the candidates may be associated with. So, for example, here there's a patent and intellectual property practitioners. That's exactly the people we want to reach. Of course, here it only says 13 because we have also all these other criteria. So basically, with all these criteria, there's like 13 people who have indicated that at the top of their profile, and who are affiliated to the group that we are looking for. We have had in the past situations where we had to find midwives and similar profiles, which are not really listed in the corporate jobs here. And this has been very useful. It can also be done by looking up in advance outside of LinkedIn, looking up for a specific university, a specific place. For example, when we were looking for midwives, it was a recruitment for only Canadian nationals. So I looked up in Google, where do you get a master's degree in midwifery in Canada? And it pulled out a certain university. And this is where you would enter it under the school here. You would say, we want people who have studied there. So then it really narrows down to people who have studied there. And maybe you do not find the candidate who wants to apply for your job, but you might find someone even more senior who knows somebody else who could apply for this job. So we have to think also in that way, that we are not only reaching out directly to the candidate, but also to someone who has resources to help you find that candidate.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ivana. To conclude the session, I would like to know what has been the impact of the tool so far and the outcomes for UNDP.
Well, the biggest impact, I think, is actually this direct communication with the candidates, bringing candidates to us, because after each round of these recruitments through LinkedIn, I had dozens of requests to connect, and also there was dozens of requests to connect to UNDP careers. So we are actually attracting candidates to the pool of people that we need, because even if they don't apply at the moment, they might be interested in something in the future. And from recruiting for the JPO program, which I do most of the time, I can say that 1 in 5 candidates which were top of the list, or let's say the interviewed candidates, have been found through this tool. And especially for countries where we had very little response in the past, we have now made very interesting pools of very good candidates. This is also a great tool to find candidates in countries which are not well represented in the UN. So if you need to, for example, for the needs of our graduate program, I went in and tried to find people from Vanuatu and other exotic locations where people do not really apply from sufficiently. So this is a great tool to selectively reach candidates that we need.
Thank you, Ivana, for this insightful session. Maybe you would like to provide us some links with the general guidelines of LinkedIn Recruiter Seat.
Absolutely. We will share a link with you, but there's a page that you as owners of a LinkedIn Recruiter Seat can reach. It's for learning, and it will show you all the different features of this tool that I encourage you to look at, because I have probably covered only the surface of it, the parts which are important and which are specific to UNDP as a recruiter. But this will offer you a lot of different helpful tools. You can do it in different languages, and then you can also go back to these. I must say that LinkedIn is improving the tool regularly, so it is very important to go back to this and catch up on these important features. As I said, one of them is AI. They're using it a lot, and AI will help us actually find these right candidates.
Thank you, Ivana. This marks the end of the session.
Thank you very much, Maria.